Hello, my name is Tim Brower, and I am writing a research paper on improving interface usability. My mentor for this project is Dr. Arpad. A little bit of background about this paper. The paper itself is going to be on interface design. The paper is going to focus on 3 problems that can arise during testing, and also ways that one can avert these problems during testing. This topic was selected because I'm not strong in my coding abilities, so I'd rather focus on something that deals with more of the user side of the computer itself. I'm also interested in the way that people interact with computers, and also how the user views the computer system itself. Accomplishments for this paper is actually one of the major ones is actually finishing the actual paper itself. Another few things that are related into the paper are the 3 things that are looked into, which are interface designs for prototyping, and this would include storyboarding, and storyboarding would be, for example, of just writing down on a piece of paper and pencil the individual interfaces, and then have them sequence flow between each page representing a different face or a different screen that the user might come across. Another design that can be used is HTML design. This would be used through a web page, and it would be a lot more interactive than storyboarding, because the user could actually follow it from screen to screen and get a better understanding of how the interface would actually work. The only drawback with HTML is that the data that the user is inputting would not necessarily be saved. Another type of prototyping is a Windows layout diagram. This is similar to storyboarding, but it's just a little more in depth. So it just might be a mock-up and something similar to a design software like Pencil, where you have an interactable interface, but once again lacks the ability to save the data. And the last type of prototyping we have is language prototyping. Is designed using the actual language or tools that will be used for the system. However, the language prototype takes longer to develop than storyboards or HTML prototypes, but they have a distinct advantage of showing exactly what a screen looks like that the users will be exposed to. Another area researched was interface layout, and the components of interface layout consist of content awareness, or the ease of how the user can find interface that they're looking for within the actual interface itself, as well as aesthetics, is how the interface looks to the user, or how pleasing it is. Another component of this is user experience, which helps the designer design something that's easy to learn and fast to understand for the user if they're new to it. Another large one that affects the layout is consistency. So in other words, the consistency, or how similar it is from page to page or window to window, so the user doesn't get confused or lost. As well as interface layout, test users were also looked at in this paper, and this includes topics such as what target group of users you should be looking at for testing your system, as well as how people should be treated and the procedure of them actually testing the system. Target group users also might be of different varying ages, or people who are not as familiar with the existing system as others. This also needs to be taken into account when designing the interface, and also it should be implemented in the testing phase of having people who are not familiar or of a different age group to have a hands-on activity with the actual interface to provide better feedback about what needs to be looked at or done to help assist newcomers to the system, and also different age groups. If the testers have a well-designed test area, then they will provide more positive feedback to the designers of the interface so they can make sure that the interface itself is up to the quality and the standards to the client's needs. These three areas can impact an interface in positive and negative ways. This research paper helps explain possible ways to avoid the negative ways that can impact the interface that is being created. But if all goes to plan, the interface should be very user-friendly for its intended user. When utilizing interface design prototypes, make sure to use the right one that fits the task. So depending on budget or scope, one should decide whether a storyboard prototype will be enough for the current design, or if they should use an HTML prototype, language prototype, or a Windows layout diagram prototype, depending on what's needed for fitting that task at that point in hand. This also applies to layout of the interface. Layout of the interface should have plenty of content awareness so the user can find the information that they are looking for, as well as the interface should be very pleasing to the user or has very good aesthetics. The designer should also take into the fact of user experience within the layout, so that if they're a new user to the system, that they can operate it smoothly without little to no problems. Layout consistency should also be another factor within the design of the layout, as consistency helps the user find out and know where they are at all times while using the interface or layout. Test users should also fit the task for the interface that is being designed. For example, if a new D2L page is being designed and developed for students on campus, the campus should consider using students as their primary test subjects because these are the primary users of the D2L page. They could also use faculty to help test these pages, as they will also be the people using the pages and or design of the website. These are three out of many different factors that can impact the success of a new interface that is going out into the market. Following a few of these steps, one can possibly avoid three of these problems that may occur within designing a new interface for a company or new client base. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.